A midsegment is a segment that connects the two legs of a trapezoid and is parallel to the two bases. So in other words, it's a segment that goes right down the middle of a trapezoid. It bisects the two legs. To find the length of a midsegment, because it's right in the middle, all we're going to do is find the average of the two bases. So add up our two bases and divide by 2, since it is just in the middle. So let's start with a very straightforward example, and then we'll kind of do an algebraic one. So to find that length of the midsegment, I'm going to add up my two bases, which are 12 and 28. Those are the two parallel sides that are marked with the triangles, and then divide by 2 to find their average. So 12 and 28 gets me 40, and half of 40 gets me a length of 20 inches for the midsegment. So that midsegment would be 20 inches. An easy way to check this, and if you ever need to work backwards, like if they give you a base in a midsegment and say find the other base, is to just figure out what you need to do to go from the base to the midsegment, like what do you jump by or skip by. So to go from 28 to 20, I've subtracted 8, and I just want to make sure that I do that again up here, which I do, I subtract 8. So that's another way you could check your, or a way you could check your answer, or a way you could work backwards in case you're trying to find a base instead of a midsegment. Let's try this one on the right where we're dealing with an algebraic equation, although we're going to use the same kind of thinking. This time I want to find x, and 12.5 is given to me as the midsegment. So our formula, our thinking was, let's add up the bases. So 3x plus 1 is one of my bases. I'm going to add that to my other base, which is 15, and then we said we'll have to take half of that because I want to find the average of the two bases, and then that should be equal to the midsegment, which this time was given to us as 12.5. So I have this algebraic equation to solve, which looks maybe slightly complicated. So here's your quick trick to make this a lot easier to solve. To get rid of that divide by 2, I want to undo that, and the opposite of dividing by 2 is to just multiply by 2. So what I always do when I start these problems is just cross out the divide by 2 and move that times 2 to the other side to undo this. So I'm going to simplify the numerator then, which is just going to be 3x plus 16 when I combine like terms. That 2's gone, and once I double the other side, I get this equation. So what's in green, much easier to solve than what was in red. So that's that. Again, that was my trick. Just double the other side to get rid of that divide by 2, and then from there, let's just do some algebra, I guess. So subtract 16 from both sides. So 3x is equal to 9. And if I divide by 3, I come up with x equals 3. Let's check this one actually the same way or a similar way we did that first problem. So if I were to plug 3 back in for x, 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 plus 1 gets me 10. So this base is going to be 10 up here. If I wanted to check this then let's add up our two bases. 10 plus 15 gets us 25. And if I divide by 2, I get 12.5, which was the length of my midsegment. So I know 3 must be the correct value for x.